Matthew Dolloff, the Denver shooter who killed a Trump supporter in cold blood at a downtown Denver Patriot Rally during an Antifa-BLM Soup Drive, has been charged with murder. More importantly, it turns out he's not a licensed security guard. He wasn't even legally allowed to be a guard. This story just got real. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on the internet, we're gonna go through all of the research that I've been doing into this man, and let me tell you, the plot thickens. I have a theory that you're not going to hear anywhere else about how this went down, and let me tell you, it does not look good for Antifa, BLM, and the leftist activists. So here we are with Sloan Dickey, Denver 7. Breaking. According to a source at the Denver Department of Excise and Licensing, Matthew Dolloff, the shooter arrested on Saturday after the dueling rallies, has never been licensed as a security guard or to carry a gun on a security job. Both are required in Denver. Details at 5. Now, here's why this is important, folks. This story is a mess, and I think I know why. So this is what happened. There was a Patriot Rally in downtown Denver. BLM and Antifa also showed up. They called it the Soup Drive. What they mean by Soup Drive is they bring cans of soup, and instead of helping feed people in poverty, they use those cans of soup as weapons to throw at police officers and conservatives. Now, there was a confrontation caught on camera between this so-called guard, who is actually not a licensed guard, and the victim who was shot dead. The media denied that he had any ties to Antifa, but now it turns out not only was he a leftist, he was a part of Antifa supporting groups. Well folks, here's a picture of the shooter. This is Matthew Dolloff, the man responsible for the slaying of a Trump supporter, and based on the information we have, this dude was never even a licensed security guard. Now there is a caveat to this, so listen very carefully. Matthew Dolloff was not licensed to be a guard or carry a gun by Denver. However, he may have had a license to be a security guard and to carry a gun outside of Denver. The media and the left may use this framing to kind of muddy the water, and they do this a lot. Basically, no, this guy was not allowed to be a guard in Denver, and that's what matters. Whether or not he was a guard in other places, it doesn't change the fact he had no license. So this guy is screwed. He's being charged with first-degree murder. The police have decided that no bail will be acceptable. In other words, this dude he's going to prison. I see no situation in which this man walks. Now, I've got a lot to show you, okay, because, again, I think I know what happened and it's not pretty. And I suspect that the reporter who hired this guy is responsible. But before we do, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the bell button for notifications for more content. And if you like this video, please consider giving it a share. Channels like mine rely on viewers like you to spread the word. And if you want to support the channel, maybe check out my Patreon or Subscribe store, or heck, one of my sponsors. But let's get back to the video. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that this guy was a leftist. Here you can see, the alleged shooter's music page posted the raised communist fist and is followed by the Young Turks. Here it says, Occupy Denver demonstrator Matt Dolloff carries a folded American flag and helps lead the Saturday afternoon march. So this guy was a leftist activist. This much is known. Here's some stuff that he was following and tweeting on Twitter. Sub.Mission, they're a music group and they support Black Lives Matter. He was a part of this group as per the Space Invader tattoo that was on his arm. Now the reason that this story is so confusing to so many people is simply because of the vast amount of misinformation going around. Okay, so the first word on the street was that this guy was an Antifa member. That was initially reported by a Denver news outlet, by journalists on the ground. And then later on the police said, oh, he's not associated with Antifa, which was a bad choice of words, because he actually is associated with Antifa and leftists, and he was a leftist activist himself. So now, after that, a bunch of left-wingers were going around saying, oh, it's fake news, those right-wingers are spreading misinformation. Now hold the phone. We know for a fact that Matthew Dolloff was a leftist activist. Period. Like, there's no confusion there. And then we had news that Pinkerton, like he was a member or a guard for Pinkerton Security, but now they're claiming that he's not actually a guard for Pinkerton Security. Like, what is going on? We're being told all of these things and they don't add up. What I think happened, and this is the theory that you're going to hear nowhere else. I believe that the reporter from 9 News and 9 News itself are responsible. You see, 9 News has a long history of supporting groups like Antifa and BLM. Could it be that this reporter hired a radical nut job who was not a real guard to protect him during this rally? Could it possibly be that Matthew Dolloff executed a Trump supporter because he was an Antifa and BLM sympathizer? I want to show you the following tweet. This is Amy on Twitter. Mike, nearly 2 years ago, I went full Karen and called 9 News to complain about their reporters harassing Trump supporters online. It got so bad that I even sent this email to the president of their parent company. 9 News has a history of being very aggressive Trump haters. Oh my god, it's like the pieces are coming together. A 9 News reporter hired a radical nut job, and then that radical nut job ended up shooting a Trump supporter. You see, the reason that I think my theory holds a lot of weight and explains a lot of the inconsistencies is because it logically adds up. Think about it. Why did the police seem so confused at who this guy was? Why is the city of Denver saying that this guy is not a licensed guard and he wasn't licensed to carry a weapon? Why is it that the reporter was released from prison, even though we know, based on Twitter, that the reporter who hired this guy is an Antifa member? They said so himself on Twitter. They said, "We wouldn't hurt Kyle. He's one of us after all." Why? Because 9 News hates Trump supporters, and this reporter hired a Trump hater who wasn't even supposed to be a guard, and that person killed someone. This is a story of the left. Here you can see. Serious complaint about 9 News Denver. And this is the email that she sent. She's sharing it with us, and I'm going to share it with you. What did she say? She says, "Dear Mr. Logue, my name is Amy Monroe. I am a Trump supporter, and I'm writing to you about a disturbing situation that is happening at a new network your company owns called 9 Denver. Several of your news staff are involved in a targeted harassment campaign against regular American citizens online, simply because they have differing political beliefs. The investigative reporter, Chris Vanderveen, is leading the charge, attacking and dehumanizing anyone he comes across who supports President Trump. Mr. Vanderveen is not responding to people who attack him first. No, he's literally hunting for people who support Trump and then stalks their pages. He looks up how many tweets they post per day and then accuses them of being bots. Basically, 9 News has a bunch of people engaging in online harassment and bullying against conservatives and Trump supporters. And I don't know if they ever responded to her, but yeah, this is 9 News. They're run by radicals, the radical left. They support Antifa, they support BLM, and they support harassment against Trump supporters. So what did you expect to happen when a left-wing reporter hired a left-wing nut job to be a fake guard? He went out, he saw a conservative he didn't like, and he executed him in the street. And now he's being charged with first-degree murder because he has committed a crime. So I see a lot of lawsuits coming in their future, and I hope they get sued to high hell for what has happened. I don't understand how Pinkerton was involved. So Robert Koch brings up a really good point. Ask the question, Sloan. Did @Kyle Clark, and this is the reporter who hired this guy, and I believe he needs to be investigated, of @News, know Matthew. Did Kyle set the arrangement up for Matthew to be hired? There is a massive story that needs to be uncovered. Ask those hard questions, Sloan. He may be responsible for a lot of this. How could he have not known? According to News 9, he was assigned as their security guard through Pinkerton. Pinkerton says that they did not directly contract the guard himself. So where did they get the guard? I have no idea. Maybe Pinkerton reached out to a different security agency which loaned them a guard? Yet before, Pinkerton said that they were the ones who hired him. Do you see where all the contradictions are coming? So clearly, somebody is lying. And when somebody is lying, usually that means one thing. Cover up. People are trying to cover up their behinds. So News 9 wasn't his employer, so none of them hired him. Doesn't change a whole lot in my opinion. I do not believe that Kyle is innocent. Kyle followed him on Twitter. There is a picture of 2 of them. Both of them. They knew each other. He hired this guy because he knew he was also a Trump-hating left-wing activist. I want to be fair here. This is the picture of the victim. You see him here on the left wearing a cowboy hat. He made that hat, probably. He was a cowboy hat maker. Do you know what enrages me? The left wing on Twitter and in general, not only are they laughing at this guy, this American citizen who did nothing wrong, literally, he did nothing wrong. The guard, Matthew, wasn't a guard, came up to him, tried to disarm him. He got smacked, and then having his feelings butthurt, he decided to shoot him. And all the victim had was a can of pepper spray, so no. No. Not justified, but I'm going to show you the tweets that I've collected. I want you to brace yourself for this. It made me angry. It's going to make you angry. So look at this guy. Verified blue checkmark. Steve Cox says, how many MAGA people are going to get shot while attempting to attack people with bear spray before they stop doing that? People don't like it, whether they're hashtag Antifa or not. So you see this leftist piece of garbage, because that's what this guy is. He's a piece of garbage, basically laughing at this guy who got shot, saying and implying that he deserved it because he was trying to defend himself with non-lethal pepper spray. Most of the tweets I saw were worse than this. There's people on Twitter celebrating that this man died. They are disgusting and they are monsters. No, he did not deserve it. This guy was wrong. The shooter was wrong. Now I want you to look at this tweet because it really shows you the left-wing mindset. Andy Millman says, to be clear, an armed pro-cop protester assaulted a private security officer hired to protect Channel 9 employees. He then attacked the guard again with a can of mace. The guard stood his ground, fired one shot, and then immediately let himself be taken into custody by police. And this shows you just how deranged your modern woke leftist on Twitter is. There's so much wrong with this statement. One, he wasn't a private security officer. He was operating illegally. He was not attacked by the victim. In fact, if you look at the footage in the photos, the security guard went up to the Trump supporter, tried to disarm him, got smacked, and then he shot him in the face. All that the Trump supporter did was spray him with mace because he was being assaulted. The one who acted in self-defense was the victim. Why do you think they're charging this guy with first-degree murder? But look what he says. Anyone claiming that Antifa attacked an innocent patriot is intentionally lying to you. This was a legally armed security contractor firing in self-defense against a violent right-wing extremist. Wrong. All of this is wrong. But this is what the left is saying online on Twitter. No, he was not a legal employee. No, he was not a guard. No, he was not shooting in self-defense. You don't just stand your ground. There's no such thing as standing your ground against someone with a non-lethal pepper spray. It just doesn't exist. That is not a thing. And this is why these people, the left, are extremely dangerous. They literally do not understand the law. They think that just because the guy had a can of pepper spray, that they were allowed to shoot him. Like, oh, you sprayed me with pepper spray, you slapped me in the face. That means I get to shoot you. No, that is not how it works. Oh, here we go, folks. The Denver Post interviewed Keltner in 2015. This is a Q&A in which the victim, the man who was shot, described his love of making people happy by creating hats, which he described as wearable art. Quote, I love creating new designs and making people happy when they get the hat that they have been searching for. When I put a hat on someone who has been looking for the perfect hat for some time, and that hat fits just right, and it looks right, and they know that it's finally right, they just light up. That's the most rewarding part, Keltner said. Are you really going to tell me that the left is saying that this guy, this literal hat maker, was some sort of extremist? Are you insane? And all of this makes me think that, maybe the left and the right can never, ever reconcile their political differences. I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just people who are far gone because they spend too long on the internet. Or maybe the left, the modern left, has become increasingly extreme and increasingly dangerous. It doesn't matter that he surrendered. He murdered someone. It's not self-defense. He wasn't afraid for his life. There was no threat. and it appeared that the victim was trying to back away. So, there you have it, folks. The plot thickens. The reason this guy was shot is simple. He was a conservative, he was a Trump supporter, and he was a right-winger. He backed the police, he stood for law and order, and the left does not. Look at this, folks. The BLM Soup Drive. Oh, it's so nice, isn't it? They're going to feed the homeless? No. Look at the cans. Look at the socialism. Hammer and sickle. No. This is literally a picture of people throwing cans to hurt people as weapons. You know what I think? I think the radical left came out looking for a victim, and they found one. Counter-protest, the fascist rally nearby. Civic Center Park, Saturday, October 10th, 1:30 p.m. Denver Communists. This was a setup. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this video? Let me know down below in the comment section. As always, if you want to support the channel, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar. If you want to donate, visit my donor box page or send me crypto. Links and addresses are down below. You can also support the channel by visiting my merch store or one of my sponsors. Why not the Virtue Signal parody card game that makes fun of social justice? And sharing the video is always vastly appreciated. Like, truly from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing. I'm sorry that we have to live in a world that is like this, but as long as we do, hopefully this video helped you stay informed. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.